What's up, y'all? Welcome back to From the Ground Up. I am so excited to dive in today. I want to tackle this idea or this question that in my own personal journey as a pelvic floor PT that I've realized over the years, my belief has shifted. It's actually done a 180. And it's this idea of what if it's not about getting our patients independent and out of our clinics? Truly, let's talk about why getting patients discharged shouldn't be our ultimate goal and how that mindset truly, I think, might be holding us and honestly holding our patients back from living their best lives. This idea of getting our patients independent, getting them to at least 80% prior level of functioning, discharging them back to their prior level of function, all of those words, all of that jargon, that originates or that has roots. We learn that stuff in PT school, and I'm sure in OT school as well, if you're an OT listening. All of those things I was taught in PT school are the goal of patient care. It is how fast can we get them better and out of the clinic? If you the faster you're able to get someone out of pain and out of your clinic, you're a better PT, right? And in insurance terms, the insurance companies want us to be getting to at least 80% prior level of functioning. And the fact that I just took that and was yeah, that sounds good. Let's get these people back to 80%. That is so dumb. That's so terrible. That is not good care. It's not designed for helping people reach goals or build capacity in their bodies or build resilience in their bodies. And who better than us as movement professionals who care about movement and helping our patients not only get out of pain, but feel their best and build strength and mobility and resilience and all of these things. Who better than us to go well beyond 80%? I even say take them beyond 100%, which in my opinion means meet their goals. And then how can we keep going and exceed what they thought was even possible? But I didn't start out treating that way because that's not how we're taught. And I don't think the PT schools want us to be mediocre. I think that comes from the insurance model of care because insurance companies don't want to pay for PT forever, right? And that just drives me nuts. And it makes me so angry because I'm these people who wants to stop at 80%? Who wants to have an injury, go to rehab, and then once you're better enough according to the person paying for your care's standards, once you're better enough according to them, you're just done, they stop paying and hope you enjoy the rest of your life at 80%. That's just crap. And so what I realized after, being in pelvic health cash pay, so out of the insurance world, and then on my own, so no boss, or, anyone breathing down my neck on whatever the case may be, productivity, whatever it is, right? Benchmarks to hit, it's without any of that, I have been able to really tease out my own kind of clinical reasoning and frameworks and how I want to show up as someone's pelvic PT. And what I've learned is my patients, they don't need me to get them out of pain and send them on their way. That is not me providing life-changing pelvic health care, which is my niche, by the way. If you go and you look at our statements for Genesis of what are our core values and what's our purpose and what's our niche and who do we serve and what's our target market, all those things, our niche at Genesis is providing life-changing pelvic health care, not just pelvic floor therapy. It's no. What is our niche? What do we do different and better? What's the one thing we do better than literally anyone else? It's not that we do pelvic floor, it's we do life-changing pelvic floor therapy. And if I'm asking myself, do I change someone's life by getting them to 80% and sending them on their way and being good luck, hope you don't never need me again, ha ha ha, which is the old way of thinking, that's not life-changing. Or not for the better. That's life-changing for the worst. I have left them worse. I have left them worse off. And it's like, that's not why I wanted to get into PT and help people, right? Like, and so I just had this like revelation of, what if it's not about that? What if it's not about how fast we can get them out of our clinics? Because the reality is, our patients that are coming to see us at Genesis, and like patients that are reaching out to work with me specifically, they are fed up with, just treating symptoms, or here's this protocol, or, being reduced to like, oh, you have leaking, your pelvic floor is weak, or you have pain, oh, your pelvic floor is tight. So here's these exercises for a tight pelvic floor, or here's these exercises for a weak pelvic floor. And it's like, it's just so impersonal. And a lot of the patients that come to Genesis have already been through other models that are very similar to what I just described. And so they kind of land with us because truly, like what we can do is we can help you even when no one else could. And that's because we get to the root of it, right? And so what our patients actually need from us is not just get out of pain, 80% independent, prior level of function, whatever, send you on your way, never see you again. They need a partner in their journey of being able to actually figure out what the heck is going on. Like, why is this actually happening? What do I do about it? And then how do I like live the rest of my life without worrying about this stuff, right? Because the reality of human bodies is, we're human, right? Every second, every minute, every hour, every day, every month, every year, every decade, for the rest of time, we are getting older, right? Unless Elon comes up with some way to reverse age us, I don't know. Like, I just don't think we're going to see it in our lifetime, okay? So we're getting older. We are constantly going to be aging. And the reality of that is, our bodies are getting older. There are known physiological changes that happen in our tissues, in our joints, in the efficiency of our bodies, and all of those things that will continue for the rest of time, as long as we live. And so even just that fact alone, for us to be like, well, I got you to 80%, like, you're discharged, I did my job, you have not set them up to be able to, endure the rest of their life and age gracefully through that and have this resilience that they're going to need as their body ages, or, for women, as their hormones change. And we know how impactful the cascade of the changing hormones is on muscle function, joint function, literally everything that has to do with our pelvic health. And so us trying to, get these people out of our clinics as fast as possible in the name of being a great therapist, and that being kind of our metric, and then not taking the time to, see them through this for the long haul, is actually doing them a really big disservice. And we are not living up to, at least not why I got into the field. I'll speak for myself, right? Like, I want to be a partner with my patients for the rest of time. And truly, like, it's because they don't just need a fix, right? They need someone to walk the journey as they age, as their hormones change, as their life, goes through stressful time periods. And we know, like, the impact of stress on, the human body, the musculoskeletal system, the nervous system, all of that stuff is going to play a role and an impact on their symptoms. It just is. Like, getting someone better now does not mean they're better forever. And if you send someone out the door, the second they come back and they're, oh my gosh, I did my first workout without leaking. Yay, I reached my goal. And you're like, great, we're done here. It's like, what have you actually done for them? Like, you have not helped them build that capacity and that resilience for the long term. And even as I like say this, I understand this is not how we're taught. And so I also just want to like validate, if you're like, no, like, if you're having a hard time agreeing with me, like, that's okay, because I had a hard time believing this myself, even as my own brain started to learn it over the years of treating all my patients. Like, I disagreed with my own self of, 3-4 years ago, I would say, like, I would clap because our average, patient lifespan was 4 visits or whatever, and that means we get them better so much faster, and wow, we're so amazing because the average patient only needs to come to us 4 times. Now, y'all, I'm literally not kidding, like, my patients don't leave me. Like, I have not taken a new patient in probably over a year, and it's partly because I have a lower capacity to take on or to have patient care in general, but truthfully, it's because, like, I'm still seeing my same patients for the long term because I am their partner in this journey as they, in their lives, strive to reach new goals and work to get stronger and go through perimenopause and have another baby and go compete in the high rocks. And, like, they're doing these things because my patients tend to be people who want to live their best lives. And so it's just been interesting to have this change in how I think about what exceptional care looks like. And in my opinion, like, it really is, the more skills I've learned, the more communication skills I've learned to be able to talk to humans and communicate with them in a way that is meaningful, both for them, but also for me as their healthcare provider to know how to treat them. The more skills I have learned over all these years, the longer I am seeing my patients. And it's just so upside down because I would think, 5-10 years ago, I would think, oh, the more skills I accumulate and the better I get at this, like, the better and the faster I'm going to get these patients better, right? And out my clinic. And that's going to be my marketing strategy is we can get you better faster. And there's a difference of decrease your symptoms faster, and that might be the case. But there has to come a point where we shift and we realize it's not just about decreasing their symptoms, right? It's about building their resilience so they truly have experienced something life-changing in a good way. So that way they're not just leaving your clinic after 4 visits and saying, "Oh yeah, like, I've been able to go to a couple workouts without peeing my pants." It's like they're telling their friends, like, "I started with Genesis 2 years ago, and I cannot even begin to tell you the transformation. Like, I'm doing things I never thought I would be able to do." Like, just an example, I'm seeing a patient right now. She is kind of entering into perimenopause land. So she's in her 40s, noticing some stuff there. And she came because she's finally done having kids, started having some increased leaking and stuff like that because of now, like, her hormones have started to shift. And so all of her compensation patterns and strategies that she had likely developed over the years to prevent that leaking, they're not working anymore because it's like the hormone shifts are now kind of like too much for the compensations to handle, right? And we see that a lot. And so she came because she's like, yeah, like, I leak now whenever I'm doing jujitsu. And I also strength train. And I just kind of like, I asked her, I was like, well, do you leak when you work out? And she was like, no. But the further we went in care, I realized it's not that she doesn't leak when she works out. It's that she had stopped doing impact or heavy lifting because she leaked, right? And so it had been years of, quote, no leaking when she worked out because she had reduced the intensity to avoid leaking or to avoid that, like, vulnerable kind of pelvic floor sensation that a lot of my patients talk about. Like, they just feel like they might leak, so they kind of back off, right? And, as I've progressed through care, like, we've uncovered tons of stuff. We've uncovered, like, a really bad old ankle injury. She didn't even realize I was going to be able to help her with her chronic left hip pain. She literally thought she was coming here just for leaking in jujitsu. And I'm like, sis, tell me about this hip, right? And she's had this chronic hip pain for 15 plus years since this ankle injury. And she's been to other PTs. She's done chiropractor. She goes to the massage. Like, she's done the things. And I was like, I literally can help you overcome this chronic hip pain. Like, we can chip away the layers. There's likely some multiple factors, but I promise you right now that ankle is the main driver. Let me get at your ankle. And she was just like, what do you mean my ankle? And it just was a whole mind-blowing conversation. And so as we kind of chipped away and tackled the various layers, her goals, day one was stop leaking in jujitsu. Now, I have seen her for off the top of my head, probably over 12 visits now. It's been 6 months, 8 months, somewhere in that time frame probably. And she as we've kind of worked together and chipped through the layers, like, her goal changed from no leaking when I do jujitsu, because by the way, that went away pretty quickly. So if I had kept that at the forefront, she would have been gone after like 4 visits, because like she did stop leaking in jujitsu. That was the first thing that changed. And so it was, me kind of leading her through and holding this vision. But what if you could go back and lift heavier? Would you want to do that? What if you could go back and try those jump ropes that you haven't done in 10 years? Would you want to do that? Tell me about running. Like, you said that you used to run before your ankle injury. Is that something you want to get back to? Like, all of these lines of questioning. And what we've uncovered is she's like, yeah, like, I do want to feel strong again. I do want to feel like I could do any of these things if I wanted to, especially, and we know that she's in perimenopause, and we know the importance of women building muscle and having strong bones and lifting heavier and doing impact exercise. All of those things have scientific backing on health through perimenopause, postmenopause, and beyond for women specifically. And if these women are avoiding those things because they're leaking, because they just think, well, I mean, it's going to be like this. I have 5 kids. Like, it's always been like this, right? Like, that is doing a detriment. And I bring that story up because she didn't even see that that was possible. And again, like, old me, I would have written down, wants to be leak-free in jujitsu. Okay, here's pelvic floor strength, here's breathing strategy, here's whatever. I might not have ever uncovered the ankle thing back in the early days, right? Now I'm like, let me look at your foot and ankle, like every single person all the time. But like, if you're not trained in that, or you're not thinking that way, you're gonna miss that stuff, especially if you're not asking the right questions, right? And so that story just serves like to show, if I would have thought, okay, how can I, in this case, I didn't know it was pain at the beginning. How can I get her leak free in jujitsu and on her way? Like, a win is a win, right? 4 or 5 visits, send her on her way. She maybe would have stayed leak free in jujitsu, but because we didn't get it, like, some of those more underlying factors, and because, maybe I never would have asked her, do you want to start jumping again? Do you want to be able to lift heavier? Like, if I would have just stopped at her telling me, no, I don't really leak whenever I work out or whenever I strength train, like, okay, so she doesn't leak then. Okay, so it's just jujitsu, right? Like, I would have missed this whole future for her that I can help her get to, that is going to be massive for her mental health, her physical health, her hormonal health, like all of these things, right? And so this is what I'm talking about whenever I'm saying, like, it's up to us to partner with our patients, to show them what's possible, to invite them to think bigger. And then when we get that vision, to hold that vision for them, even like, through the thick of it, when things are hard, maybe we have a setback in care. Maybe she comes back halfway through and she's like, oh, I leaked again in jujitsu. And, it's like, we have to be able to lead them through that and hold that vision and remind them where we're going. Right. And so that's kind of the way that my line of thinking has shifted on this. It's kind of gone from, how quickly can I get them out of pain and independent and discharged out of my clinic, to like, how far can we go? How far does she want to go? How far can I take her? And what does that journey, that partnership look like together? And I think that is true life-changing pelvic health care, right? Would she have been happy if she could do jujitsu without leaking? Yes. Would she have said, this changed my life? Like, I don't know. Probably not. Like, and that's what I'm getting at is, if we truly are in this thing to help people and to change their lives and to make their lives better, like, we have to think bigger, and we have to zoom out and think outside the box, and we have to change kind of our metric for clinical excellence and for what it means to be a great pelvic floor therapist, right? Because in my opinion, it's no longer how quickly I get them better out of my clinic. It's how far can we go together, whether that takes 6 months or 6 years. Like, it doesn't matter. That's not the metric anymore. The time is not the metric. The number of visits is not the metric. It's her outcomes, and it's her report of how her life has been positively impacted and hopefully changed for the better, right? And so I just want to push on that a little bit and just kind of put that out there into the universe of like getting people out of pain or asymptomatic is not the same as getting them well, building resilience, building capacity, right? Those are not the same thing. And independence, quote unquote, does not mean isolation from support. Like my patients they're all independent, quote unquote, after, we start care. Usually I've taught them tools, they're utilizing tools, they're doing the things, right? But that doesn't mean that we've stopped treatment or stopped care, stopped support, right? And so just think bigger. I just want to challenge you, think bigger. What could that look like for you and your patients, right? When we go past just the symptom resolution, like what if we shift it and we start thinking, it's not about how fast I get them better and out of my clinic, it's how far I take them, right? And so that's what I think of when I think of what it means to change the game of pelvic health, because we are boxed in often on those metrics of the symptoms and getting them back to at least 80% prior level of function and out of your clinic and living their lives. And that's the win. And I just disagree. Frankly, I disagree. So that's what I'm here to change. And I want to challenge you to think about that and, validate that's a change. I'm asking you to change how we were taught to think, right? And it took me some time myself, but I can stand on it confidently now. And I can tell you from my side, that's the type of care that is changing my patients' lives, both, in my clinic and, the people on my team, like my team members that are holding patients longer, they're the ones that are getting these reviews of their lives being changed from their patients, right? And so I'm just so passionate about this because I do want to change. I want to change the game. And so I want you to do it with me. So hopefully this inspired you. Hopefully it kind of challenged you to think about it a little bit differently or a lot differently. And if it did, I'd love for you to share this episode, share it to your stories and tag me, send it to, a fellow clinician that you think would enjoy it. DM me, let me know what you think about it. I always love hearing from you guys, but ultimately you sharing these episodes is what helps me get in more people's ears and helps me change the game, because I can't do it by myself. I need your help. I need everyone's help. I need you guys bought in on this, and I need people who are fed up like I am with how we have been taught and how this field has been up until now, right? It stops now and it's up to us. And so that's what I want you guys to do. I want you to share it and help me change the game, because we are better together. And it would mean the world to me if you did that. So if you are interested in kind of learning more from me, learning more of my framework of how I'm thinking through pelvic floor treatment in more of like a framework type way, systemized way to be able to zoom out of the pelvis and the pelvic floor and really find the root cause of pelvic floor dysfunction, my course, my signature No Kegels course, is opening up again this spring, and I would love for you to join the waitlist. So definitely get on that if you haven't taken this course. If you're new to me, my show, my social media, whatever, I would love to have you at least in the waitlist so you can learn more about it. And I am really excited. I'm just really excited for us to change the game and for this year. And I am happy to have you guys here listening. So let's change the game.